The last calculator that we are going to see is the non-spatial calculator. That is basically a normal calculator that you can use to multiply or perform other arithmetical operations with numbers. You don't have to use any layer, vector or raster layer, you just use numbers. This doesn't make a lot of sense. Doesn't make a lot of sense when you're working within a GIS because you're not using GIS elements, GIS data. And that's why if you go here to the calculator and you double click on it, you see that the interface doesn't have the typical calculator interface that we have already seen. This is because this calculator is not meant to be used here. It's not meant to be used from the toolbox because, as I said, it doesn't make much sense. This calculator is interesting when we are working with the modeler, when we are working within a model and we need to perform that kind of operations. So I'm going to open the graphical modeler and we are going to see an example. I'm going to start this model at a raster layer, which is going to be a digital elevation model. And now I'm going to execute flow accumulation algorithm. Now after that I'm going to execute the channel network. So what I want to do is to calculate the channel network based on the information from the flow accumulation layer. Select the elevation here and the flow accumulation here, and now I have to enter a threshold, which is a numerical value. Now I have just one option, which is to type directly the value in here, because I don't have any input from the user, any numerical input from the user, and I haven't calculated any other value using another algorithm. I'm going to execute first basic statistics for raster layers, so I can enter here now a value that depends on the values in the flow accumulation layer. I execute this again, and now I select in here one of these values. I can select, for instance, the mean value. That would be the mean value of the flow accumulation. But now imagine that you want to use not that mean value, but twice that value, or the mean value plus a certain amount. You cannot do that here because you don't have any place to enter that operation, to enter that formula. So what you have to do is to calculate that in advance, and then once you have that number, that result, which is a numerical value, then you can plug that in and use it in here. And to do so, you use the non-spatial calculator. So if I want to use here twice the mean value of the flow accumulation, what I have to do is to execute the calculator, the non-spatial calculator, and here I select from the list of numerical variables that I can use the mean value multiplied by 2. You can see that in this case, when you're using this calculator in the modeler, you cannot type directly the name of the value that you want to use, the name of the variable, because you don't even know it. All those numerical values, they have an inner name that Sextante uses internally. So instead of just typing here, you better double click on the elements of this list. When you're using the raster calculator or the field calculator, it's the same. You don't know the name of the layer as you do when you execute the calculator from the toolbox. So instead of typing, what you do is just double clicking on the element here, and Sextante will put here the corresponding name of the element that you clicked on. So now I have my formula here. It's the mean value from this process multiplied by 2. That's the mean value of the flow accumulation multiplied by 2. And now I can go back and add this channel network algorithm, and now I can select here not just all the results from this process number 1, basic statistics, but also here the result from process number 2, called calculator. you see I'm using the DM, the result from the flow accumulation, and then the result from the calculator, which is the mean value of the flow accumulation multiplied by 2.